just recently, Ford was out in Georgia muddying, and what I mean to say is that Ford was out testing the Ford Bronco. Now, according to Bronco Nation, who was thrilled to share an exclusive look at some of the 2021 Bronco off-road mud testing, um, the two-door Bronco, the four-door Bronco, and lots of mud. Not just any mud though. This was the Georgia mud, also known as the Piedmont clay. Most people know Georgia for its peaches, but real off-roaders know all about the Georgia mud, which is some of the toughest clay in North America. Clay soil is extremely dense, with particle diameters less than 0.002 millimeters. These are the smallest of the soil particles. Clay soil hold water and nutrients well, and small pore spaces make for poor water drainage. As a result, Georgia mud clay forms hard clumps when it dries and becomes slick and sticky when wet, making it a perfect testing environment for engineers. And what you see here is the Georgia mud and the Ford Bronco utilizing its 7 crawler gear to get out of these critical situations. Now, mud packing in particular is important in assessing a tire's performance, a tire ability to shed mud, especially the clay mud in Georgia. It's critical for maintaining traction. Practical ownership challenges like cleaning your Bronco after a day on the trail is also an important consideration in testing. When the mud sticks, how easy is it to eliminate it? And preventing damage to key components for mud and water are just some of the criteria the engineering team was evaluating in these testing videos that you see here. And these videos are brought by Bronco Nation. Now, additionally, engineers use 3 unique environments for evaluating fording capabilities, essentially driving the Bronco through deep mud puddles repeatedly to ensure critical components are protected and no water enters the driver compartment. So next year, when you're driving your new Bronco and you hit a muddy patch on the trail or some snowy slush on the street, the Bronco will flip a switch in its big Bronco brain and say, I've dealt with the worst of these situations before and I know exactly how to handle it. Now, learning from some of the most challenging terrain in the world is important because the Bronco knows it has to be down for every wild adventure you are going to bring it along for. Now, we're just eager, as the rest of the nation, to finally see the fully revealed Bronco. But in the meantime, Ford was out testing the Bronco and testing it against its competition as well. And this is brought to you by the Bronco Nation. Now, the testing for a car is important, and basically in order for a car to come out, there has to be corrosion testing. And they have to look for things such as a trace of corrosion, slight corrosion, light corrosion, moderate corrosion, medium corrosion, mostly corroded, totally corroded, severe corrosion, perforations. They have to take the car out and they have to test these particular instances, and they have to take them on tracks. They have to look at cosmetic corrosion, and in order to see how the cars are going to perform. And what I'm going to do is just talk about some of the things that the engineers have to test these cars for. We saw some of it in some of the stuff that they did in Georgia and some of the stuff from the Bronco Nation and what it talked about. Now, they have to replicate the environment in order to get results for corrosion and seeing what type of components are going to be vulnerable to the environment that this excuse me car's going to test in. Excuse me. So it's their job to look at the vehicle accelerated corrosion, and they have to take it to the proving ground in order to test this. And the method used by many car manufacturers to evaluate the overall corrosion performance, it is able to combine corrosion and durability inputs in order to warranty the car. So they're going to have to, and then this part of taking a car to Georgia was a part of the, and taking the Bronco to Georgia was a part of the testing. It was a part of, so that the car can perform the way it's supposed to. They have to, and they also do this in test facilities, and they replicate the proving ground tests that's required for corrosion facilities. And they have to have a test track, and they have to take the Bronco through the gravel, through the trolls, through the mud, through the salt, and see what components are going to be vulnerable. The vehicle has to be driven through a shallow troll of salt as well, to introduce small particles into the vehicle joints and crevices, and primarily at around the underbody, the door, the lower hem, the flanges, and engine compartment. The accumulated grit, poultice increases the time of wetness and may abrade coating. A gravel road test has to be done, a physical integrity of the protective coating by introducing stone impacts and all the different things to see what this Bronco is going to do and how it is going to do it. So this was a part of the testing, and it has to be exposed to sodium chloride, temperatures and humidity, gravel roads, and definitely a lot of mud, as you see here. And with sodium chloride, they said 5% of the sodium chloride solution, and there has to be certain percentages, standard practice for operating salt spray. They have to have fog apparatuses, all type of things have to be taking place. And with the temperatures, they have to, it says like 50 degrees Celsius, they have to keep the car in, or the SUV in. And 98% RH is widely used to create conditions that will accelerate the natural corrosion. So they have to create conditions that's going to do that, and they have to take it on the gravel road. The aggregate from 25 millimeters to dust is used, and Ford went beyond that by taking it to the mud clay in Georgia. They had to introduce stone chipping to the vehicle body and components, and for mud they have to water, sand, and loam, and the purpose is to build up deposits in related areas. So they have to do this. Now they have to go through the test cycle, which is designed to suit and show the corrosion driving cycle used in the present, in the present way, how they do the testing. And the vehicle has to be driven to achieve a certain target of 6 cycles per day to accumulate 140 kilometers. The overall mileage targeted is actually 1,400 kilometers, and you have to put that in miles. It requires approximately 3 to 4 months of test duration. So that's what all this testing is about, and that's why it's taken so long for the Ford Bronco to meet its production and to meet its unveiling, is because they had to take it through all these tests to see if it's going to pass. and it has to be analyzed using mass loss techniques. The corrosion weight has to be calculated, according to ASTM standard G103, standard using the formula and the equation. The corrosion rate being K times W divided by A times T times D. So a lot of that goes into play. K being a constant, T being the time of exposure, A being the area in centimeter square, and W being the mass loss in grams, and D being the densities in grams per centimeter cubed. And this is and it gets a lot of, there's a lot of engineering that goes into place, and this is why it's taken for it so long to go through. Now, and what's happening here? The Ford Bronco. Now, we were supposed to finally be able to see the 2021 Ford Bronco a couple of months ago, but a lot of things has happened to prevent us from seeing that. Natural disasters, civil unrest, to really stop everything from taking place. There's not a new date set for the unveiling of the Bronco yet. Now, however, Bronco Nation published this video that you see on their website, and the SUV muddying, and the Bronco looks to have no issues with tackling things. The camouflage prototype seen there, two-door varieties, the four-door. The Ford Bronco, is rising up. Ford is unsurprisingly keeping tight-lipped about the SUV. All we know is that the debut of the Bronco is going to be sometime soon. So we don't have any idea yet, but we're just waiting. We're waiting for it to take place, and sooner or later it will, and we will be a part of it. Let's see something once. So this is the Ford Bronco, and let's go back and take a look at some of the earlier testing of it. This is the Ford Bronco being tested, not tested, but this is the off-roading concept. And we're just going to look at some of the pictures. Actually, really, just these two pictures, basically, about the Ford Bronco. It leaves a lot to be desired. They are Automotive Reviews. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more interesting videos.